Private Living, Rio de Janeiro City, Rio de Janeiro Federative Unit, Brazil, National State. We could check yesterday that we offered a model as an astrophysics program which allows us as getting the concrete perception of things that are not explicit presented, like hidden lines inside a contract. And these will carry signatures on it. We are inside an accusation, and this accusation is divided in three pieces. The Brazilian authority and institution hadn't the capacity to do the work. The work is made by the international law enforcement because Brazil has an integrated failure on budget. We could check that this model has cross-cut between three different areas, macro, and three segments as functional relation, micro. We have the estimative, the variables, and the function. The estimative or an index with the functionality as dominance will change the behavior as variable and the function. How we use this? We use this against you, criminal offender, inside the debtor system. Because this research has a clear purpose as anti-crime. The first part as economic and financial control. The second part as control by budget, which allows the second part as control by the individualization using the housebound as a charge. These two elements, the budget that cluster groups and groups clustered can be depurated by the charging, and we are using the Brazilian Constitution, for instance, Article 37. And the individualization, when those groups are exposed inside the segments by intervals, and these intervals interconnected, offering to the entire global community the perception that something that goes inside the regular space but doing things by their own interest and purpose. This is enough to beat them all at the court as insider trader and self-dealing. But if the court, as Brazilian court and judicial system, must do the analysis and are inside the problem, of course, that they has no legitimacy to do the problem, the analysis. It's quite simple to get. The hoax as institutional power is do something without the legitimacy, and despite have no legitimacy, you do this. Like if you are the president of Supreme Court and talk as the president, you are not the president. You have no legitimacy to do this. We will check that the social psychology has an issue, which is the behaviorism. When you are against this research and all things presented, and we are claiming our rights, of course that you are the offender. You accused yourself as a group, as leadership, and things you did. So easy to get you and put you down. And we will observe that yesterday we had, it was supposed to move, not today, but I will move today, these questions, and we offered a model. The question is to the Brazilian system with all chairs inside integrated by corruption and with continuity by failure by nepotism, if we had any trouble at the access of Norton services, considering the not authorized access of someone account. If we had any kind of barrier to access the Norton communication and service by the Google DNS, and if we have any kind of large number of situations as variance for criminal procedure made as abuse, and with the systematic continued very intentional to avoid the legal consequence against specific chairs, because by inference the interest of those chairs shows their position at the scam. The scam against the credit is illegal. It's a fraud against the creditors. It's a fraud against the credit. It's a fraud against the financial penalty as punishment by your wrongdoing. This is, one more time, obstruction of justice. See, we will have our module today considering the elements we had yesterday. The first thing we must have in mind is that the communication or any kind of workflow, when had interference and so much interference until got modified, will be unable to be presented to your stakeholders if you are inside a company, to your society and the taxpayers, which are your stakeholder at the public investment system that you use for criminal purposes all the time. Especially observe the evidence and prove it at the COVID-19, globally speaking. But in Brazil, we had segments depurated before, and we are using this at the pandemic even. I'm not a mafia member. I told you this a dozen times before, but you consider believe in everything that you by your sense and sights is enough to avoid, as avoiding the guiltiness that indeed you can deny, especially as integrated failure, but you will all together and with instruments to depurate and have the individualization by chairs. The model we did was this. This model we could observe before how the behavior of the estimative and the variables can affect the function, and the function without the legitimacy to be can't be considered, for instance, the regular way as democratic institution if you are against your own constitution, like not respecting the limits of your budget or have fake currency from central banks, with the silence of you all, because you are considering that the mafia is a great business, but the mafia isn't a business. The mafia is a criminal organization. This is how the pandemic even go, and how the cut as disruptive even from Brazil, considering the current time and the complementarity near future on Europe 2024 and the distant future but not so far away 2028 America goal. Only will have the total integration as criminal scam by silence of you all, not mine. We suggest to you use the social media follow the truth for the communication oversight by the international judicial system in charge and collect the data. You are all charged and guilty by obstruction, by corruption, by functional corruption and international corruption, considering crimes as white-collar crime and others. All with institutions that has building carrying offices and departments with chairs leading to board members, CAO, officers, quality negative one, there are no guarantees as outlawed. It's the regulatory system all around the globe, including the Brazil. We will have today our model, considering that you can prevent the disgrace, interrupting the future at the current time. We are using this model, which is the business and administration, the defense structures, and the services security plan, considering the traders. With two departments, America, by names you can get, Europe, by names you can get, banks in the same way, on Europe in the same way, the regulatory and the regulators and the accomplishment makers on Europe, explicit because it will be on the near future on America, not so explicit, but existing for sure. We will have that the corruption goes by this area here when they do things considering themselves, not the color red, not the color blue, but the color as interest, as self-dealing and insider trade. The international corruption, the public corruption, and the corporate corruption goes by one area that interconnect them all inside the space. Like Brazil, the only thing that is all around is the public service. The public department is for sure inside the scam. We will have our movement today considering the chart that we presented as this new year. And we will have in mind that maybe we had this conversation before on social media until got shut. You can research this on Twitter. We will have that our traders are Mrs. Vagini, let's suppose as hypothetical, that was leading as CEO a global company named International Business Machine. This company do business and did business in Brazil, do business globally speaking. Mr. Donald Trump was the chair number one inside the most influential nation at the scenery. So, we will observe that we will have Mrs. Vagini that do business all around the globe. And Mrs. Vagini doing business all around the globe is a company inside the most relevant area inside the globe. And here is the chair number one that will do much more business all around the globe. It means that this area that the company couldn't get, the chair number one can support and provide information. We had suggested to be placed inside the company that has this division at that time, the Federal Bureau of Investigation between the bottom and the top, considering the CEO to get how the failures can allow the entrance as circles and squares that are not a triangle as my company. Corrupting the board, corrupting the bottom, and by, for instance, interest as investor group, circle and triangle. Changing the pattern as financial workflow of my company that wouldn't be and have the interest to present the regular thing by the decreasement of capacity, decreasement of result, decreasement of legitimacy to be loyal, even as an American business. But to do not have this company switched into something that's not American, like many others, we placed the FBI there to get this. Then we had the Mintzberg design, considering the regulation FBI, Interpol, OECD, plus CIA here, the company, got on their own feet again. Then we had this model. This model indeed will help a lot. We will finish this part here and have the second. Despite I have no idea if it be uploaded today.